Ohio's deer gun season is a week long, and now that I've triggered all you hardcore deer hunters out there and you're mashing your keyboard saying, how on earth do you get anything done? The answer is we don't. It's a terrible situation. It's actually a very dangerous situation because the woods are flooded with a whole bunch of people who have just taken off work. The whole state basically grinds to a halt for the 1 week that people get out to be able to fill their freezer, particularly in disadvantaged areas. It's been going on far too long. It's absolutely unacceptable and it needs to be changed. Never mind the whole argument about usurping somebody's Second Amendment right and then selling it back to them just because they want to use it on a deer. We're gonna skip that tirade here today. But I'm out here the week before. You're probably seeing this video the week of. I'm prepping for the season. Normally I haven't had to do a whole lot of prep the last couple years because I've been using the same exact gun. I basically shoot it a few times before I go out, make sure that it's all good still. And when I'm done with the season, I just oil it up, put it back in the vault, right? Well, this year I've decided to change a few things, and the rifle I'm using is this one right here. This is a 350 Legend Ruger American. It's a very lightweight gun, as you can see. This year I've swapped out the suppressor. I was using this guy right here, which is a fantastic can, but again, it just weighed the gun down way too much. So what I've gone to here is this little guy from Witt Machine. This is the Naughty 9, and this predates Mod 1 suppressor. But if you want to see that video, I think I call that video something like suppressed even when poor or something like that. These are very cost effective. And what we're out here to do today is make sure the gun still hits 0. And then we're gonna go back and talk about hunting suppressors. Do you need one? And what is the value, excuse me, of having a suppressor on your hunting rifle? Let's see if it hits. Step one of any 0 session here is we have a single 8-inch gong hanging out there. It's been beat to pieces. We shoot every gun on it first, and if we hit the 8-inch steel, then we know that we got a minimal amount of work to do once we go to paper, and this is the first indicator. So we just shoot 1 round, see if we can hit it. Yeah. Now I actually put some paper out there at a true 50-yard mark, and we're gonna see how this thing shoots. It's gonna shoot twice. It's shooting a little bit high at 50 for my taste. The max ordnance of 350 Legend is somewhere around 100 yards. We want to 0 at half the max ordnance, basically. So if I can get it relatively close at 50, then that's where we're gonna go. It doesn't have to be exact.
I definitely over dialed on this one, so we're just gonna draw it back a little bit.
And this is me being unprepared. I left the spare ammo back at the shop. So I had to come out another day and fine tune the 0. We've got 1 round left. We'll see how this prints.
Yeah, that's pretty good on the guess and check, if I do say so myself. Unfortunately, now having returned to the shop, I realized that the remainder of the ammunition that I have is actually 10 grains heavier than what I was shooting, so I had to redo all that anyway, and I'll do that off screen. But what I can say is that the Naughty 9 from Witt Machine is a fantastic combination with this little rifle right here. So if you were looking for a can to do the 350 Legend thing, this is your guy right here. Highly, highly recommended. Now that brings me up to hunting cans. And in my perspective, hunting cans are in a class of their own, regardless of the caliber that we're talking about. And the first thing that I think comes to my mind when it comes to hunting cans is something that I alluded to at the very beginning of the video. This little thing, this setup here, is very lightweight. And when you're talking about a hunting rifle and integrating a can into that system, you're talking about something that you might potentially have to lug long distances. So I think about it like this. I guarantee you that if I'm going on like a mountain goat hunt, I am not lugging my belt-fed rated 30 caliber can up that mountain. I'm just not doing it. Ounces equal pounds, pounds equals pain, and I'm just not subscribing to that. Performance will decline. Unless you're like into that sort of thing. I don't know. Some people are really into that. I am not. So when we're talking about a hunting can, oftentimes hunting cans make some kind of compromise to accomplish that goal, to be lighter. Either they're made out of a lighter weight material that cannot handle the intensive use of like fully automatic weapons or semi-automatic weapons, even fired in rapid succession, or they have shortened themselves. So this particular can is made out of 416 stainless, so it is a very rugged can, but it has accomplished the goal of being compact at the expense of a little bit of suppression. Now, here's the thing when it comes to compromising suppression. Kurt, why on earth would you do that? 350 Legend is a supersonic cartridge, right? It's going to go over the sound barrier, and it's not like 3 times faster than the speed of sound. It's more like 1.5 times the speed of sound. So it's going to have a supersonic crack, which you guys heard at the beginning of the video. A real quick recap, there are 4 sources of sound. There is the action noise. There's the sound of the report, which the suppressor actually attacks. There's the gas vent, which this gun does not have a gas vent because it is a manually operating firearm. And then there is the supersonic crack. Nothing can be done about that supersonic crack except for using subsonic ammunition, which if you're hunting, and I've done a video about this, I am not cool with big game hunting using subsonic cartridges, right? And I consider deer to be a big game. It's a larger bodied game, and I consider it a big game whether you do or not. So you're still going to have to deal with that supersonic crack regardless of whether you go max suppression or not. What this can does is soften the blow to your ears to the point where it still has a little bit of report to it, but most of it is what you hear going on downrange. It is very comfortable to shoot. In this configuration on a bolt action rifle, this puts it, I think that this gun is just over, I'll give it a measurement for you real quick. Measurement in this configuration, tip to butt, is 39 inches, a little bit under. That means that that's going to be that far away from your head. And in this configuration, that is very pleasant to shoot. Which brings me to the ulterior motive of having a suppressor on your gun. The first and most obvious is to reduce that sound signature and sound exposure to you, because hearing damage is a cumulative thing that accumulates over your life. So 1 exposure today, 2 exposures tomorrow, 3, 4, you see what I mean? So reducing that without having to wear hearing protection is a positive impact on your overall life. I know many people who've just done the incidental, shotgun hunting throughout their life, and they get to their 50s and 60s and they're like, what's going on? I can't hear you. It's a bad thing, and combating that with a device that's always mounted on your gun is definitely a positive thing. That said, there are other external ballistic benefits to having a suppressor on your gun. First, it in most cases makes the guns more accurate. It is a fantastic target crown to have on the end of your gun. It can often increase the accuracy of the gun if it is mated to a proper firearm. As far as the effect on the game, distinguishing the direction of fire is off by 90 to 180 degrees. To the point where I have seen videos from some of my friends that do a lot of pig hunting, and they will purposefully fire the first round over the herd of pigs, and oftentimes you'll see those pigs run right at them, right? So confusion and then potential follow-up shots on an animal that's a little bit confused. And then the last thing that I would say about suppression on your gun is overall noise pollution. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the situation here in Ohio is absolutely ridiculous. Everybody running out for the first week. The opening day sounds like World War III. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I can tell you that over the years, just about everybody who hunts on the property now is hunting suppressed. There's only a few holdouts, mostly because they haven't come and picked up their cans. JB, I'm talking to you, if you're watching. We see a lot of deer traffic coming off those other properties and bedding down on ours because there's a whole lot of noise going on out there and very little noise relative in comparison to the other surrounding properties. We see a large deer population that ends up settling down after the season on our property. Now, deer somewhat are fluid in their movements, But usually when winter comes around, if they find a situation where they've got a fair amount of resources, which we tend to have, and not a whole lot of pressure, then they tend to gravitate towards those areas over time. And our deer population here on this farm is very healthy and growing. Not only in the actual numbers of individuals, but also the quality of the individuals. So if you're doing a management program of any kind, then the hunters that you are using to manage that population should absolutely be hunting suppressed. Anyway, I think we're probably at time. So I guess I will reiterate what we did in the first half of the video. And that is that if you're interested in getting a 350 Legend suppressor, then I fully endorse that you go after the Witt Machine Naughty 9. And I think now they offer the Mod 1 in 30 caliber and 9mm. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there are some cans on the market that are astronomically priced, as in an order of magnitude more expensive than they should be. Some of that's brand, some of that's some other factors, but this one from Witt Machine is very cost effective, and it does a fantastic job for the application that it is designed for. Anyway, that's all for us here today, and hopefully we'll see you on another video here at the VSO Gun Channel.